Hello and a very warm welcome to this exciting new episode of Simply Electric, where we're showcasing the JAC E30X pre-series vehicle. A massive thank you to RSA Deutschland GmbH for giving us the exclusive opportunity to be the first to test this pre-series model right here in Germany, all for you to see. Right now this car is exclusively available in Switzerland, Sweden and Finland. And it starts at around 20,000 euros, give or take, and is hopefully going to be available in other markets pretty soon as well, fingers crossed. To be introduced to the German market soon, yes, a fully electric small car, super exciting. I'd say before we dive in, take a look at the design. Feel free to join the electric vehicle community. We'd be thrilled if you support us with your subscription. It's free for you, but helps us grow this channel a bit more and bring you even more pre-production vehicles like the JAC E30X. As always, we'll start from the outside, beginning with the front. Take a look at the front section. The JAC E30X, and I must say, JAC really nailed it. A nice, modern, and truly sleek design. It kind of reminds me a bit of the Aura 03, doesn't it, Stefan?
I meant that.
Yeah.
So go ahead and check out our Aura 03 videos. A sly one who always jumps to the worst conclusions. Maybe one or the other has picked up a little something from someone else, right? You mean like that, don't you?
No, right? Nah, no.
So that would be a bit too investigative, wouldn't it, Jack? Yes, absolutely. We've got sleek LED daytime running lights combined with LED headlights, which feature both high and low beam functionality. And we're focusing here on the electric compact car segment. Electric compact car here specifically refers to a length of 4.02 meters, a width of 1.77 meters, including the side mirrors, and an overall vehicle height of 1.56 meters. For comparison, I'm 1.85 meters tall. The wheelbase measures 2.62 meters, and it offers you two distinct configuration options to choose from. One version is the Go, featuring a 41 kilowatt-hour LFP battery, or the Style, like the one we have here, which comes with a 51.5 kilowatt-hour LFP battery on board. It charges here at the front on the side, always with three-phase AC at 11 kilowatts or DC charging it up to 64 kilowatts. Now, not from the bottom, please. I know that means a charging time from 10 to 80% comfortably within 35 to 40 minutes or thereabouts. We'll give it a try with you, hopefully sometime soon, but maybe we'll have to make a few compromises when it comes to the prices, just to keep things practical and balanced and ensure it works for everyone involved. Yes, a nice design line, black roof, everything above the bodywork here is also kept in black. Privacy glass and keyless go, meaning the door handles extend automatically as you approach the vehicle. That's also a cool feature I've captured for the video. Deactivated, the stylish rims are part of the package, crafted to subtly and elegantly mirror the exterior color in their finish. And yes, last but not least, we'll of course take a look at the head section. Stefan, I'm really curious to hear what you have to say. It's really quite a sleek, modern design, isn't it?
Yeah, especially how straightforward it is, right? No unnecessary frills or anything like that, just the hood lights, and that's pretty much it.
With JAC, I first thought of Jaggy, like Jaguar, right? But I figured we're driving some super premium luxury car here. But a small electric car suits us better. What JAC absolutely can't be without is a thick, hefty shark fin, at least painted in the roof color.
At the very least, indeed.
And then he's got this small, sporty rear edge here, which is something at least. But take a closer look. He's missing a rear wiper, which is quite surprising. Is that a disadvantage? Do you need a rear wiper? Feel free to let us know in the comments. What it definitely has are beautiful LED rear lights in a modern design. So therefore, with every electric car, you always have to accept making a bit of a compromise here and there. You know what I'm saying? Let's take a peek under the front hood here because there's quite a bit of advanced technology cleverly tucked away inside, ready to explore. First, there's the electric motor situated on the front axle, driving it with a power output of 100 kilowatts, 136 horsepower, and 175 newton meters of torque. And then, of course, quite a bit still air-conditioned, the 12-volt battery. Brake fluid, windshield fluid, so that in the end, I genuinely don't believe there's any space remaining at all for a front trunk. Yes, hood fans would have been nice, but there weren't any, just like there was no insulation either. But we'll look into that later with the interior noise measurements. For now, let's hear what a JAC sounds like, right?
3, 2, 1, let's go.
Full 0 to 100 wasn't specified. We'll measure that with GPS, and the top speed maxes out at 150 kilometers per hour. So, in terms of performance, very appealing indeed. Very appealing should also be the trunk, the rear trunk, and it opens manually, which adds to its practicality and everyday convenience for users and drivers alike. It's not like the Aura 03, where in the top variant you also get the automatic trunk opening. And then we have 310 liters of trunk space here. You can see it here very, very clearly displayed. You'll see later that I'm missing a double load floor here. I'll also show you the reason why. Because underneath here, under the carpet, there's just a warning triangle and a tow hook. And here on the side, I'm missing a bit of felt or a carpet because without it, this area might get a bit noisy or somewhat unstable over time. It might get damaged over time. For those who find 310 liters insufficient, there's the option to expand the space by around 40% on the driver's side, which adds a lot of flexibility to the whole setup. I think 30% and 70% on the passenger side. I haven't measured it exactly, but you can just fold the seats down. Yeah, it's always annoying when the seatbelt is back there because it kind of blocks everything. And you can see that there's somehow a missing double loading floor here to kind of create a layered loading space to create. Now we've got this bump, this hump, but in the end, yeah, maybe with the price and with such a small electric car, you've got to be ready to make one or two compromises, right, Stefan?
Absolutely, yes.
Let me guess what Manuel comes up with. It will also be Manuel. With a bang. Great. We don't have roof rails, and Jack couldn't tell us yet whether there's a roof load limit, nor could he confirm if there's an optional trailer hitch available with or without any included payload capacity for towing. So does Stefan have any additional info then?
Yes, earlier when we were scrolling through the menu a bit, he has a trailer mode.
So you're saying if he has a trailer mode in the menu, then he should also get a trailer hitch? Well, I'm curious to hear. Feel free to share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Outside's done, let's take a look inside. As always, we're doing the window check, single glazing, one pane. It's nice and thick, and we'll measure the indoor noise levels together with you step by step today. Yes, door trim is always such a popular topic, but in this price category, I won't spend much time discussing the plastic components. Except, it's not very softly foam-backed at the moment, but it has a nice grain texture. And it has this chocolate brown, also transitioning into faux leather here, chocolate, then white, cream-colored. I think it looks stylish. French fry holder, window controls, mirror adjustment via the central monitor, and the buttons on the steering wheel. Proper chrome finished plastic door opener. Then down here, it's all hard plastic, but at least it's nicely textured with a subtle grain. And it offers ample room to store a large water bottle and a good amount of miscellaneous items. But without a mat or without a rug, it's going to rustle and rattle. Now, let's perform the door check once more to determine if it sounds hollow or insulated. So, a mix. A look at the armature carrier nicely reveals the chocolate brown again. I also find this really stylish here. You can get it in a black anthracite finish, again with some cream accents, or simply in chocolate brown here with a slightly creamier tone. Really nicely done. But let's stay chronological. We don't have a head-up display, which is rarely available in small cars anyway, and I don't see that as a disadvantage because we have a nice driver information display here. It reminds me a bit of the VW ID series, but the steering wheel can't be adjusted in distance, not even by force. It's only customizable in height to ergonomically align with your seating position. On the right side is the gear selector, on the left is the turn signal lever, and there's also the adjustment for the wiper function. We've got a nice horn here, right? It works, and then we have this painted plastic here, which I think looks stylish. At least it's not piano black.
Yeah.
And then we have button functions here that you really need to feel out because they're simply not labeled. A mischief maker might think he probably wants to a little bit. That's got to teach Jack a bit of learning by doing, doesn't it?
No, try everything first, then you'll know for sure.
Exactly. That's why he always says jolt correctly at einfach elektrisch. Over here, you've got the infotainment controls, volume, station adjustment. And here on the left, dot. We're hoping everything will eventually include assistance systems, since it's a pre-production vehicle without them installed yet. But it's supposed to get ACC later, so an adaptive cruise control system, and then it will probably be here. Now you can somehow adjust the temperature here, make it higher or cooler, and you can set the ventilation to be a bit weaker here. You can now go full throttle here, maybe he'll hear it. And then you can simply tone it back down again. It could also be a nice feature in the multi-function zone. Yeah, a nice big display, Stefan. What's that, about 14 or 15 inches?
At least, yeah, I'd say about 14 or 15.
Exactly, where you also have a really nice climate menu again. Here, a level vanishes sometimes, at times it's static. Sometimes it's not static, depending on which particular function you're currently using in the vehicle. But here you have all the adjustment options. And this is absolutely the best. You have seat heating adjustable in 3 levels, and seat ventilation also adjustable in 3 levels. Just lacks the massage feature.
Aber nur Fahrersitz, oder?
The passenger seat isn't working properly.
Look, the driver's seat is electrically adjustable and the passenger seat is manual E.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's supposed to come with electric adjustment, the passenger seat, but no one knows if it will also have the seat height adjustment here. Then we've got a good amount of options here regarding vehicle status, connectivity, sound, and more in the settings. Everything's neatly done. You can also see the software. It's really fast. If we now say use Apple CarPlay Wireless, Android Auto's there too, then you have the option here to use Google Maps. We're currently at the Zollen Speaker Ferry where we're filming to easily navigate and guide yourselves without any hassle or complications. Using Google Maps, you can now easily locate electric charging stations and let the app guide you directly to the nearest one with just a few taps. I always think that's so awesome. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Yeah, manual air vent controls, we absolutely love those with a satisfying click sound. Everything feels premium. Look here, hard plastic, great texture, and here, a bit of chrome bling. Here, plastic with a crystal-like finish, looks awesome. Ambient lighting in between adds a nice touch. I think it's awesome too. With multicolor adjustability, storage area, right? Check this out then. Cup holder foldable, simple.
Yeah, good.
Where's the passenger's cup go?
Between the legs. Squeezes between the thighs.
Okay, that can be exciting too.
With a coffee cup, especially.
Okay, so here we have an inductive charging pad. For two, it wasn't quite enough either, but we have to mention it's also not available everywhere in other vehicles. And then we have here, unfortunately, an area with piano lacquer, which is, of course, very, very prone to scratches and also to dust. Here we have a large, look please, storage compartment, which even comes equipped with a climate control feature.
Yes, that's the big rotary knob. You can adjust the ventilation how much you want in there. I think that's really cool somehow.
That means if you put a nice little bit of water in there, you can cool it down in the summer. That's pretty awesome, right? Nicely cushioned too, again covered with this kind of faux leather. I have to be honest with you, we'll see it in a moment through the passenger door. I've got a really decent seating position here.
Ventilation's on, yeah.
That's pretty cool, right? Although it's not that warm today. I'll switch it back here. Of course, you also have memory functions for the driver's seat. You can save several names as well. So everything here on the display I also think is awesome, that you can save multiple seat positions here. Here, take a look. A nice compartment where maybe a lady's handbag fits and a man's bag can also find its place. There are two USB-A ports, one for connecting to the vehicle and another for charging your devices. And you have a 12-volt outlet with 120 watts of output power. That's also important if you ever want to charge a laptop or other devices on the go. Yes, the seats are made of the finest faux leather as mentioned in a white cream tone with chocolate brown accents. It's perforated, so it's not just heated, but also ventilated. Nice support here in the lumbar area, proper support here in the shoulder area, a nice, soft, rounded headrest that feels good, and I also think there's a decently long seat surface so that taller people like me can find space. I'm 1.85 meters tall and feel like there's still about 1.5 to 2 fists of space to the glass roof, which is here in the style version. Look, Stefan is also on board, and on board there's also such a durable sunshade that you can clip in there. I also find that interesting so you don't get that heat effect in the summer. Yeah.
That's good. That's really quite clever.
So I think Jack watches our videos and always picks up the coolest tips on how to prevent your head from overheating when you're out under the sun. Am I right?
Right, yep.
Or you think they skip our videos?
Yes, they do watch them.
Absolutely. The glove box is included, neatly lined with durable and tough plastic material. I would have preferred a bit of felt or a carpet, but it's better than not having a glove compartment at all. And then, of course, we have this hard plastic here, which could easily cause the buckle, when not in use, to rattle around noisily during the drive on those uneven cobblestone streets. No fabric here, just white plastic. At the top, a bit of fabric. But I have to say, for this price range, it's all perfectly fine. Except, look, Stefan, this is still a pre-production vehicle, hard plastic. And here you can already spot some scuff marks from shoes. So, you know, in the long run, maybe the plastic will get a bit affected, right?
Right, exactly.
So because of that, you know, it's always a bit suboptimal in that sense, unfortunately, I'd have to say.
Before we wrap this up, I've also found a small thing which I already briefly mentioned to you earlier. I've got this little gadget here, and when you press the button, a small hook pops out. So you can easily hang, I don't know, up to 3 kilos of groceries or something on it.
Or maybe the dam?
Yep.
More like correct. So he does offer more there. By the way, there's no check mark on my side.
All right, that might be a bit annoying, I think, right?
Yes. We want to do the seating test in the back with you. I'm 1.85 meters tall, 99.9 kilograms heavy, and we're going to check out how much space the JAC provides in the rear section. Back here in the rear, I'm sitting surprisingly well and have a really decent, comfortable seating position. I can slide my feet under the driver's seat, and with the passenger seat adjusted to the B-pillar, I have almost a fist's width of space. There's no center armrest here, but electric compacts often skip this particular feature. We have 2 sets of child ISOFIX attachments here in the back through this pass-through. I always find that less than ideal because it often gets caught when you're attaching it. But in any case, we've essentially mirrored the design from front to back, and we've also upholstered the back rests of the rear seats, essentially the backs of the front seats, nicely with faux leather, and Natasha, once again in that two-tone style, all the way down with faux leather. That's extremely classy. What I really like is that in the door linings, both front and rear, we've used the same materials throughout. We're covered on the outside, we're covered on the inside. Now we really want to experience it, we want to drive it. The JAC E30X, come along, we'll take you with us. To the full driving report, ... We want to test the turning radius with you, and it's supposed to be under 10 meters. Let's give it a try and see if I can really navigate around Stefan so effortlessly and smoothly. It's going pretty well, but it feels more like 10.50 meters, maybe even 11 meters. However, the factory specifications say it should be 9.90 meters, so for now, we'll go ahead and trust what the factory has stated. Far more important than the turning radius, I believe, is the ability to park easily and smoothly with such a small and compact electric car. That's what we want to try out with you today. And the style variant here even features a 360-degree camera with... Listen to all that ringing and chiming. Yeah. Awful, right?
I was annoying about that.
I don't even know if you can adjust that or turn it off or something like that, right? Otherwise, it's absolutely fantastic here with the guidelines. It's truly incredibly well executed and super helpful to work with. Not every small car today includes this feature. You also have the option to use a bird's eye view here, ensuring you always maintain a clear and detailed perspective. There are some of you, even colleagues of mine, who somehow struggle a bit with parking in and out. Smoothly around those wheels, and then, you know, colleague, it's all about taking the right radius or doing a bit of rubber erasing, huh? In any case, it also has the front camera. I think that's super important. Just look, I can't see anything on the left. Do you see that?
Yes, that's good. Here you can really get out.
And of course, it's important that you can see a bit more here, whether there are children, pedestrians, or cyclists. Plus, the guiding line in case you're unsure where the car is steering, so you can clearly see it here with the corresponding graphic displayed. So, for an electric compact car priced around 20,000 euros, it's really quite decent. Look at it, just take a look.
How it's marching up here. It's handling this really nicely.
Does? Yeah, you see how beautifully large Apple CarPlay appears here on the display. It's really awesome, right?
That's really good.
So, especially for me, who's now getting presbyopia at almost 50, you don't need reading glasses. Yeah, for sure. It drives really smooth. I feel like I instantly connect with the vehicle, almost as if it's an extension of myself. You know what I mean? I've got a great all-around view here. The driving feel is genuinely solid. Of course, it's not the stiffest car right now, so we've got a slight bit of steering angle here, you know, really. We have around 1.3 tons of curb weight here. The permissible total weight of the vehicle is then a good 1.8 tons. So it also has nearly 500 kilos of payload, which is crucial since it's specifically designed to carry up to 5 people along with their luggage. And yeah, maybe the steering could have been a bit more direct, but honestly, I think that's just nitpicking at a pretty high level because it still goes exactly where I point it to go. So overall, I think it's all quite decent. Yeah, since it's a pre-production vehicle, it doesn't beep at 1 kilometer per hour over the speed limit, which is actually kind of nice for a change. That will then, of course, be mandated by the EU with the production version. And then there must, of course, also be a feature somewhere that allows you to turn it off completely. I believe particularly for urban settings, it could genuinely turn out to be an absolutely brilliant car.
I also think, as a city runabout for the town or nearby areas, it's honestly such a cool and practical option to consider.
I think you'll definitely be able to move around the urban area in the summer with approximately 10 kilowatt hours of energy. So, I believe it will be pretty efficient. Of course, it doesn't have the best aerodynamics because it's a bit taller, with a vehicle height of about 1.56 meters. On the plus side, it offers plenty of space and room inside. You can't have it all, as they say, but I think it's a fair trade-off, don't you?
You have to give just a little bit everywhere.
Exactly, so let's take a look and see how the sound system actually works.
is not high-end, but it's certainly sufficient for the task at hand.
Well, it's not exactly a feast for the ears, but for the price range, it's actually quite reasonable. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I might be mistaken, but it does sound a bit muffled to me, don't you think?
It could, of course, also be due to the settings, the pre-series, you never know. But yeah, I think for listening to the radio, a bit of music, a bit of chit-chat, it's perfectly fine. Let's go measure the interior noise at 50 kilometers per hour. 63, 64 decibels, quite loud. A VW ID 0.3 hits 60. Let's speed up to 70 kilometers per hour. 68, 70 decibels, that's completely fine. For instance, the VW ID 0.3 is relatively similar in terms of noise levels, and will also proceed right away once we're out of this slightly curvy section of the road where things smooth out a bit more, allowing for a steadier, quieter, and overall more comfortable and enjoyable driving experience. Then we'll also bring it up to 100 kilometers per hour for you again. We definitely don't want to wreck the car here, right, Stefan? It's always the same story. Just as we're about to hit 100, a curve pops up out of nowhere. What's the deal now? 72, 73 decibels. I think that's okay. I believe we had something like 70 decibels with the ID 0.3. So it's roughly on par with the VW ID.3 level. Well, I didn't really find any drive modes except for eco and standard. That's about it. No sport mode here. Let's head to our certified test track, specifically the straight section, to measure the 0 to 100 kilometers per hour acceleration, since the manufacturer hasn't provided an official figure.
Nah, we don't.
I'm all ready.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
100 kilometers per hour, push off. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Now he's really starting to gain some serious momentum. 70, and we've already hit 90. Now steadily approaching 100. And now, of course, we're going to carry out the brake test with you all one more time. He didn't brake quite evenly there,
Oh no, he kind of slowed it down there.
so the avenue did come a bit closer there.
That was a bit exciting, wasn't it? But what do we have here? 0.50, 4.2, 0.60, 4.9, 0.100, 10.07, but 103.8.
Yes, the best ones are already under 3. So there, Jack, you definitely need to take a look at the brakes somehow, because even if it's a bit bumpy here, it still has to be controlled somehow. That was just the brakes here, so it handles a bit better here as well. So it really grips hard, but it was already a bit uncomfortable at 100, don't you think? Just a bit rough, you know?
Yeah.
Honestly, you have to admit it. We're aiming to do a little bit of slalom driving with you here again. And there you can clearly see that it's already starting to rock a bit. So honestly, you really have to admit, it's also a bit suboptimal in that regard. I wish for Europe more firmness, more clarity. That's actually the advantage of electromobility with its low center of gravity, that we don't experience these noticeable swaying and tilting movements as much. And yes, whether it's safety relevant in the end, the colleagues from Euro NCAP crash testing will likely find out with the JAC E30X at some point. But it doesn't feel as safe, I think, since there's always a chance you might need to swerve around an obstacle unexpectedly and quickly. And I feel like the steering isn't direct enough on one hand, and on the other hand, that bouncing can sometimes, especially at higher speeds on the Autobahn, it can quickly turn extremely dangerous and highly unsettling. Now let's grab the JAC E30X, head over to the car, and carefully place the wiper lever on the table, shall we? Waldfeel 70-80 sliding off the shelf smoothly. Check out how quickly we're catching up now, huh?
Yeah, solid.
With an electric small car, no need to check the rear view or shoulder. And then we're going to move over to the left lane here, but we're just going to zip past, right?
Sure.
When you adjust the speed regulator down here, Stefan, take a look. Then you'll certainly have cruise control activated.
That's quite a good start.
That's what the ACC, or Adaptive Cruise Control, is supposed to handle later on, which it apparently doesn't have yet. But at least we can drive with cruise control here. What we don't have in the leading vehicle right now is somehow...
A sport dynamics assistant or something like that.
Exactly. So our participant doesn't have this feature yet, but it's really not such a massive deal, is it? Now let's see if it already has ACC. Then it should somehow adjust the distance automatically, but I don't think it does that. It's just the basic cruise control function. Yeah, surprisingly quiet. I find it here at 120 kilometers per hour on the highway.
Yeah, despite the kind of slightly protruding ears, I'd say, with the side mirrors. Yeah.
They're just for those who look, yeah.
So I think it's cute too. It's really built up from the front. It just looks a bit exciting like that. But it's cool. It's a nice contrast.
Yeah, the design's just so timelessly elegant, right? Yeah.
Right, it's just so classic, you know?
That's a car you'll still love to take a look at in 10 years, right?
Yeah, I'd say that too.
Yeah, he's got no distance control, and there's no ding sound when signaling, right? He doesn't have any other assistance systems that we can test. So we could say, theoretically, let's take the next exit, right?
Exit cheaper.
We'd like to take a moment to discuss the seat comfort and the overall driving experience you'll find here in the JAC E30X model. And for that, we of course have a recognized international tool that's been in use for 5 years, which is also duly acknowledged by the German calibration service. This is Stefan's popometer. Stefan, how's it measuring up today with the JAC E30X? Let's take a look and see the results.
I'm disappointed.
What?
Yeah, I can't recreate the seats electrically anymore. It's all manual labor once again. And they don't even end up at the proper height this time around, unfortunately. Or Emmanuel, exactly. That's just how it is. Well, alright. It is unfortunately the way it is. Otherwise, I actually find the seat very comfortable. You can sit nicely here. I have good side support. The thigh support is also completely sufficient. I think you can also, if you really want to take the risk, spend longer distances here quite comfortably without your bottom starting to ache or feel sore even after a while, as they say. When it comes to the suspension, I have to admit, well, it's a compact car priced around 25,000 euros, so I wouldn't expect top-tier performance or luxury here. You can really feel it through the short wheelbase, it picks up every bump, and you'll definitely notice it somewhere along the way. It doesn't hit your back too hard or anything, but you can feel it. It's a bit unsteady and not as smooth as you'd expect. The swaying motion during a sharp turn is definitely not the most comfortable or enjoyable feeling. There's really not much more to say from my side.
I think for the short to medium range, it's actually a pretty nice urban city car.
What is that?
And when you then put that in relation to the price starting at around 20,000 euros, I know with all due respect to every euro. But for electromobility, it is rather the entry price and not the exit point. And of course, you probably still have to keep things a bit in perspective at the moment.
Absolutely, yes. And that constant blinking, it makes you aggressive. Terrible.
Let's move to the conclusion here with the JAC E30X. And I really have to say, dear RSA Deutschland GmbH, dear JAC, find a way to come together, bring this car here somehow to the German market. I truly believe it would genuinely enrich the market, don't you think?
Yes, we need affordable electric vehicles available now.
Absolutely, and for some or even quite a few of you, it could very well turn out to be an interesting and practical alternative to the vehicles currently available on the market. Whether it's perhaps the Zeitat Tron EC3, which we've already introduced to you, or the BYD Dolphin Surf, which we're hoping to have shown you by now as well, these models could definitely be worth a closer look and consideration. And maybe the Leapmotor T032. What else? Dutch Air Spring Electric. Sure, it's a bit cheaper depending on the setup, but that might also be the case with the Aura 03. So the comparability of the electric light vehicles available on the market currently. And there, I think he would make quite a good impression.
I think so too. He fits right in. He'll certainly have his own niche market.
I'd say perhaps paired with some really attractive leasing and financing terms. And that's exactly what RSA Deutschland does, or as we've seen with other vehicles like Maxus from Maxus Norddeutschland, they consistently provide attractive deals through their extensive dealer network.
Right. When you think about the big pickup back then, the T90 for 190 euros.
You can definitely support the whole thing by actively commenting whether you're interested in such a car, whether you think it's cool, or whether you'd wish for that the JAC E30X might also be available on the German market, because that way all parties involved could potentially come to the table more quickly and then also ensure faster that you might get the chance to test drive the JAC E30X yourselves in the future, or even potentially have the opportunity to make it your own down the line. And with that, we've also reached the end of the video featuring the JAC E30X. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Please take a moment to check if you're part of the einfach elektrisch community. We'd truly appreciate it if you could support us by subscribing to our channel today. Now you've seen it all in action firsthand. Keyless entry, keyless go, and how it locks itself automatically. Yes, thank you very much for watching. Stay healthy and see you soon. Your OLLI. And then we'll meet again soon with the next pre-series vehicle from JAC. E30X or whatever, what I absolutely can't stand is that massive oversized shark fin right there. It's just too much.
It's just completely and utterly unnecessary.